Hello guys and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel. I am Ben and I'm joined by Mark today because the Imps travel over to the West Midlands on Saturday to face Birmingham City for the third time this season. Mark, how you doing, mate? You keeping well?
Yeah, I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. There's a slight amount of anxiety as there normally is when it comes to, the big games, I suppose. But yeah, feeling a little bit more buoyant after a decent win on Tuesday night. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get straight into it. I mean, obviously, it's a tricky one to preview because usually we have, when we're talking to clubs and talking to fans of clubs, there's always that give and take of, we've had some good bits of the season, we've had some downs. I don't think there's a huge amount of things that you'd be able to complain about being a Birmingham City fan, obviously, aside from maybe the shock of coming down last season and being in this division in the first place. So, I mean, obviously the expectations were to bounce straight back up. Did you think you'd maybe do it in the style that you've done it and with the sort of panache that you have? Or,
No.
well, look like you're going to, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, realistically, we're not going to blow it now, I don't think. It's really weird because we're not used to, I mean, Blues, you ask any Blues fan, we're not used to being in this position, to be so upbeat. The last 5-6 years, every game's been a chore. But now you just can't wait to get down there on a Saturday. The place is buzzing. I mean, you guys, when you come on Saturday, you'll see the fan parks and everything else around it. We've got the Wembley trip coming up as well. It's just a completely different place to where we were back in April, May. It sounds like a cliche, but we needed to go down to get going again. We've invested. We're winning nearly every week. I think outsiders think we're going to sort of steamroller everyone 5-0 and all this lot, but we're very thorough, very professional. Because you guys have seen it in the games we've had already, but we don't tend to smash teams. We win by the goal. We have got the odd result, but by and large, it's just enough to sort of see us over the line. Obviously, that wasn't the case on Tuesday up at Bolton. But no, it's good. It's a few of the star players are sort of getting a few injuries. We're sort of wrapping them up in cotton wool a little bit, the likes of Stansfield and people like that. But yeah, the quality we've got now, even our second choice could probably be in a top 2 position in the league. I mean, that's no disrespect to you guys or anyone else in the league, but it's just cold hard facts. We've invested, we've spent a lot of money. We haven't just thrown money to what we already had. We have actually got rid of 17 players, so we've had to replace and revamp. But I mean, Chris Davis as well, first ever job, and he's on course for a trophy or 2. Ironically, in our 150th anniversary, so it's all the stars are aligned, as they say. But yeah.
I mean, look,
it's looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just saying off air, that there will be a lot of comments. I mean, we've made comments on our podcast about the amount of money that's being spent, and it is trickling down into the rest of the division, which is for a team like ourselves, it's slightly concerning because it's obviously there is a huge disparity between those at the top of the division and those that are lower down. But I think in a similar way to, I mean, you look at the likes of clubs that have been in the division before, like Ipswich, Sunderland, the clubs that have gone on and have moved up through the divisions. It looks, obviously Ipswich now in the Premier League, Sunderland look like they might be getting back there sooner rather than later. If you've got it and it's not going to be a detriment to the club itself, I mean, yeah, you're kind of within your rights to spend it and invest wisely, as you've said. So let's look through, some of the numbers. I mean, obviously, at the start of the season, people saw the likes of, Alfie May coming in. You think, oh, Blumenecki's going to do well there. And then every single position that you've recruited in, as you say, it looks like it's just been pure quality all the way through. Is there kind of a chosen or an ideal starting 11 for you guys? And, how do you tend to line up and has the style changed much since the game at Sincil Bank and of course the FA Cup game at your place?
Not really. I mean, obviously, you won't have to face Lyndon Dykes on Saturday. He's injured, so he's going to miss Wembley, and might be back for the last couple of games. It's pretty much the same style 11. Definitely the same style, because no matter what, the manager's got this ethos throughout the whole club now that we play the same way no matter what. We don't really tend to mix it up too much. It's interesting you mentioned Alfie May, because sort of start of the season we thought, we'd sent Stansfield back to Fulham because he's only on loan, and I thought Alfie would score a hatful, and he's done well whenever he's played. He works his socks off, but it's been the last few months have been quite rough for him, because he has actually. It's probably alien to him, but he's been outside. He's been on the sidelines, but he'll run his socks off. He'll probably more or less. I think he'll start on Saturday. Stansfield, he came back, got a few minutes at Bolton the other night, but Jay's not 100% yet. But like I say, I mean, I think the tough ask for you guys is trying to break down our centre halves. I mean, Clara and Ben Davis have been superb. And like I say, the quality on the bench as well. People like Christian Bielik and people like that can come in. I don't like to slate people, but the only weakness we've got at the moment is our goalkeeper, because Ryan Allsop's injured. He got injured in the game last Saturday. So we've got Peacock Farrell in goal, and he's a bit of a soft touch, especially his near post. He let in a soft goal on Tuesday night. We lost 3-1, and he's really going through a flap at the moment. He's not. He started off the season as number one, lost his place. But if there is a sort of chink in our armour, I'd say it's the goalkeeper at the minute. Okay. So yeah, it's weird, because like I say, we've played each other a couple of times now, and we sort of sounded each other out a little bit. I think it'll be an interesting game. It'll be close. I'll be surprised if you concede early, like in the cup game. But Yokoyama won't be. I was going to say Yokoyama's sent out on loan to Belgium, so he won't be involved. And that was a bit of a shock. That was, to be fair. But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let's look at the two games that we've had. We've both scored in the first minute in those two games. Obviously, Bailey Cadamartri getting a decent goal first thing when we played at Sincil Bank, and then you guys nicking one nice and early in the FA Cup game. I couldn't make it to the game. I was actually on a train when it was going on. I was listening to it on the radio, and it sort of had to stifle an oath but look, I mean, it's I think that game at Sincil Bank was a really good game, and obviously it was. I think we were probably on the verge of pulling level, but Rico Hackett had his penalty saved. It was one of those games where I think if that goal had gone in, it would have been a completely different end to the game, probably a bit more manic. But you guys came away from it, and as you say, that thankfully we're not going to have to face Lyndon Dykes on Saturday after his absolute worldie in the FA Cup, which sealed the game for you guys. But I mean. Yeah, it's weird, because as a Lincoln fan this season, we've been consistently inconsistent. Like we've not been, we've not been great against the bottom teams. But then when some of the top teams come up, we know how to play against them. And I think, to be fair, it was a decent performance in the league against you guys. I can't really speak too much about the whole performance in the cup, but is there anything that? Maybe, obviously, keeper aside, is there anything that you think, we might have a little weakness there? I mean, obviously, coming away from the game on Tuesday night against Bolton, was there anything in there where you thought things need tightening up, or was it just an off day?
I think it was an off day, to be honest, Ben. But I think we just looked tired. It's been relentless. It's been brilliant getting to Wembley. We're all excited about that, but it's been almost like a Christmas run-in. It's like Tuesday, Saturday. And we've talked about it on our podcast as well. We just look shattered. The other night, we just looked so flat and lost. I mean, no disrespect to Bolton, because they play really well and they deserve the 3-1 win. But yeah, I think the game's sort of catching up with us a little bit. But the thing with our boss as well, with Chris Davis, he doesn't broadcast who's injured, how long they're likely to be out for. It's just a complete surprise when you see the team sheet on a Saturday and you're like, oh wow, he's back again, and so and so's back, and it sort of galvanizes you again. But like I say, we don't keep a massive amount of clean sheets. We've been on a huge unbeaten run, but again, with the keeper we've got at the moment, I don't like to slate him, but you've always got half a chance with the way he's playing at the moment. So yeah, it's a weird one, because Peacock Farrell on paper was a great signing, but he's just failing to sort of live up to it at the moment. And he's been our cup keeper, but he was dropped for the semi-final of the Virtue Cup against Bradford. Allsop kept his place, so yeah, it's just the keeper I've got reserve judgment about.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird when you say that, when Allsop keeps his place in that competition, because he was our first choice when we got to the final at the time as well. So we're aware of. We're aware of the ability of Ryan Allsop. He was a decent signing for us. I think it's interesting you say that. I think that there might be a few watching that think, you might have a chance on Saturday then. So let's sort of move into focusing on the game then. Is there anything that you've seen maybe of Lincoln this season, and you've thought either they're doing better than we thought, or potentially having a bit of an off season, or anything that you've seen that you like about how we're set up and how we do things?
I think you guys would. I'd have you down for pushing for the playoffs, to be fair. It hasn't quite happened for you because you're sort of mid-table. I mean, I know mathematically all teams in any league can put a run together. I mean, Coventry proved that under Mark Robbins. So, you never say never sort of thing. There's still a lot of points and a lot of football to be played. But I thought you were sort of dark horses for top six. You still might, but dare I say, it might be unlikely. But no, I think you got the basis of a good team there. I mean, I like the look of I mentioned Cadamartri earlier. He looks a cracking player. And I know when we have played, you've put in you've sort of matched us effort wise. It's just that little bit of quality at each end, really. But I think I think you got the basis of a good young team. I think next season, I think if I was a betting man, I'd put you down for possibly top six again. Definitely. You're not a million miles away, I don't think, the games that I've seen us against you. Yeah.
I think that's interesting, because obviously at the minute there's a lot of discussion internally around, among the fan base about where people think we should be and where we actually are. And there's a huge amount of talk around, budgets and where we should be based on budget and where fans' expectation is. And I always like getting the sort of opinions of other fans to think, well, you finished there last season, so maybe we'd have thought you'd have gone one better this season. And then how everything aligns is always quite interesting. But it's just good to get a feel of it from the opposition, to be fair. So yeah. So I mean, let's talk about how you guys tend to line up then. I mean, as you say, you don't really change much from that 4-2-3-1.
No.
And I think the mentality is, well, why should you? You seem to be doing incredibly well.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah, it's pretty rigid.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's so difficult to try and get anything more than you guys are doing really well. How's that working out for you? It just seems to be that whenever I see any of the highlights from Birmingham games, or anything where you guys are playing, if I catch it on the TV or whatever, it just seems to be really good quality football across the park, and it doesn't really matter who you bring on or who starts. So, I mean, are there any obvious standouts for you that maybe have surprised you? I mean, obviously you've got the ones that people that you'd expect to name. I mean, obviously Stansfield's going to be up there with 16 goals already this season, and are there any way you've looked at them and gone, okay, yeah, they've maybe gone under the radar a little bit on the whole?
I think the one man who stands out for me is our left back, Cochrane. Alex Cochrane has been, young lad, 22, and he's just been phenomenal with his left peg. He's just, 7 out of 10 every week. I didn't know too much about him before we signed him, but he's coming in and done really well. There's people like Mark Leonard as well. He might be back on Saturday. The young Scottish lad. He's come in. He played last season on loan at Northampton, but he's come in and okay, on paper it's not a massive name, but wow, what a season he's had. Iwata from Celtic. I mean, I didn't know a massive amount about him. I knew the name and I'd seen bits and pieces when he played for Celtic, but wow, what a signing he's been. I mean, you probably saw the goal against Newcastle in the cup. I mean, that's probably the goal of the FA Cup in any game this season. So yeah, there's some who've really. There's some players who you expected to maybe have left in after we'd gone down. People like Ethan Laird. He might be injured for Saturday, but the penny's dropped with him, and he's just been churning out really good performances week after week. Yeah, it's just like I say, I'm just thinking in my head of all the squad, and there's nobody, anybody who's been dropped sort of comes in and just picks up the momentum again. There's nobody who's had a really bad season. Lyndon Dykes obviously is injured now, but he's improved massively. I think it's a confidence thing with him. But unfortunately, he's going to be out till he'll probably miss Wembley. He'll probably be back for maybe the last 2 or 3 games. So yeah, it's just been a hell of a good season. I can't really expand on it. It's just so good. I mean, I didn't think we'd be in this position in March. I honestly thought it might go to maybe with a couple of games to go, we might be all right. But to be sat here in March, the position we're in, I don't think anyone expected this. It's just been phenomenal. And like I say, the manager as well, 38 years old, first job, and he could end with a couple of trophies, hopefully.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
It's not bad. Yeah, I know. But,
well, look, I mean, I think it's fairly, barring a complete collapse, I think it's probably fair to say that you guys will not be in the division next season.
No.
And I mean, how have you found, just to wrap up, how have you found League One as a division? Is it one where you may be expected to do really well and it's been, the quality's not been as much as you'd expected, or is it one where you think, oh, we've just prepped to be a championship side again, so that's why things are the way they are?
I think it's the latter. I mean, I have to be honest, Ben. I thought it'd be tougher. I really did. I thought we'd be sort of taking it the last 2 or 3 games, but we've just gone about our business and we've just gathered the points from day one. I think after 2 or 3 games, we sort of stood out a little bit. So yeah, I did think we'd have maybe a tougher challenge. I don't know. I just thought it'd be tougher than it has been, but that's testament to how well we've signed and how well we're playing. And we're breaking records and all sorts. So it's brilliant. I mean, we're going to enjoy it because we got Wembley. Like you say, we've got Wembley coming up. We've got in a few months' time back to preparing for life in the Championship, and it'll be back to square one in many ways. It won't be like this next season, so we're just going to milk every second because the last 14 years have been absolutely miserable. So we just got to enjoy it, especially with them lot up the road doing well and all sorts. So we're just going to milk it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And I imagine it will feel, even though it's not quite that lot down the road, I imagine it will still feel pretty sweet if you manage to break that points barrier, given the current holders.
It'll be sweet, and it'll be lovely if they don't get to Wembley or if they lose at Wembley, just to rub it in. I know it's not the FA Cup final, but to win a bit of silverware at Wembley, you can't beat it, can you?
No, it's quite nice. It is quite nice.
Yeah.
But look, Mark, really appreciate you coming on, mate. If you if you want to take a couple of minutes, 30 seconds or so, just to let everyone know where they can find you guys, where they can find your podcast and any of the stuff. And we'll end with a prediction as well. So, I mean, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say, we always say I'd take a draw at Birmingham, but yeah, I'm gonna say we'll come away with a 1-1 draw, and it will be a nervy afternoon, and that's probably in hope more than expectation.
Well, I imagine you bring in the big away sport.
Yeah,
I imagine.
I think I think there's a few. I can't remember what I saw, but I did see we're bringing a few, so it'll be should be a good game.
Yeah, it should be good atmosphere, good game. We need to get back to winning ways after losing at Bolton. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Blues, but I think you'll give us I think you'll be one of the harder games because a lot of the away sides come to us and they play like San Marino. They get a throw in and it's something to tell the grandkids. No, I think it'll be a close game. I'm going to go for us to win 2-1. But yeah, we're a Tilt and Talk show. We've been going for about 14 years now. You can find us on Monday nights. We go out live on Facebook and then all the sort of regular platforms. Downloaded on Spotify and all the rest of it the next day. We're 6:30 till 8 every Monday. And yeah, we just enjoy. It's weird not moaning this season. But I'm gonna, it's been enjoyable, and just want to wish you guys all the best for the rest of this season, and for next season as well.
Great stuff. Well, thank you ever so much, Mark. Really do appreciate
Cheers,
it.
man.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, take care of yourself. All right.